This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so today is Thursday, February 21st. And as always, everything we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. All right, so overall, not really the happiest I've been with the free market that we have going on out there. This is probably one of the worst that we've seen in a few weeks. Now, keep in mind, it is Thursday. Thursdays is just notorious for us going into consolidation and the morning kind of coming to fruition a lot later than we normally see coming into the day. And as of right this second, there's not really much out there. But the first thing, Domino's Pizza, and this happens every once in a while, but I did, first of all, I didn't know they were public at all. I don't think I've ever seen this stock in the past 9 years or really pop up ever, but a 300, you're talking about a $300 stock. This is one of those things that if somebody asked me and I had just took a guess about it, I would say maybe like, I don't know, what, $50, something in that area. So certainly seems a little bit overpriced, but pretty much one of the only things that are moving out there. But the biggest problem is that we didn't really get any type of real prints that have came in since this morning, since the open. So coming over there, we can see 255. We do have one sell print of 1600, which means a lot considering the fact if we look over at the orders, I mean, they're pretty much non-existent. You can see 100, 400. There's just not much out there at all. So 1600 is a big amount. Now, normally because of the amount, the price of the stock, I probably wouldn't even put this on our list, but it's one of the only things that I could even see out there for us to look at. And it's going to work just like TLRY. Okay, this is the exact type of stock that we're looking at. We're just going to be looking for 3, 4, 5 prints that come in a burst, and those controlling prints are going to move this stock a huge amount. On average, we can see it moves $8.14. I don't know why I've never seen this before. Obviously, well, I do know because it's 703,000 shares that it trades on average. So all we need is a burst of prints. Burst of prints comes in, it's going to control the stock. It's going to show us exactly where it's going to be going. So we are going to be watching that, number one. And then other than that, like I said, I don't see much. Now, Keith just said NCLF. Let's take a look real quick. NCLF is not coming up, so not sure. NCLH. Let's take a look. All right, so the problem with NCLF is when NCLH, I'm looking into it, you can see it's just not trading any volume. It's got 90,000 shares for such a cheap stock. Yeah, it definitely has moved. It moves $1.28 on average, but unfortunately, there's just not anything here. I controlling bid prints 5650. When you look over there, there's definitely a lot, but then you come up to that 57 level and you have some ask prints as it was pushing up from these bid prints. The bid prints are going to be first to the table, and we are going to expect it to fall underneath those. But you can see as we're pushing back up, it's showing more of an extended move. There's just not really anything there that gives us much. You can see the way that it's trading. Now, my biggest problem with this is not the prints. The prints are great, but my biggest problem is the statistical percentage of this actually trading once the market opens is very, very, very low. Okay, once the market opens, more than likely our first bar, and that's what you're going to want to look at on something like this, our first bar is more than likely going to be less than 100,000 shares, and we're not really going to see it end up trading. So overall, the prints are there. We're going to put it on our side list because of the fact that I just don't really see a lot of variables out there that show us that it's going to be able to actually make any type of move. So IMDZ, we'll take a look at real quick. I can see it just came up on the rapidly rising scanner. And this is another one. This is going to be more than likely, statistically looking into this, this is not going to move. It's going to be stuck. This is almost, I can almost guarantee that this is a buyout. I have no idea. I did not look at the news this morning, just like every single morning. You guys know that I don't really pay attention to that at all, but as we can see, based off of what we see, it looks like there's a buyout and the stock is not going to move whatsoever. TNDM, let's take a look. No. Unfortunately, we have good prints that came in yesterday at 4 o'clock at 49. But other than that, there's nothing in this stock that we're going to be looking at whatsoever. J&J, we'll take a look at real quick. I know this stock definitely does move, and we have a huge amount of prints that came in yesterday at 4 o'clock. Nothing going on whatsoever during this morning. Anything on GRMN? Let's see. GRMN. No, absolutely not. No trading going on, 28,000 shares. There's really no prints, nothing going on. Let's take a look at our scanners. Let's see if we have anything else. Keep seeing car pop up, so let's take a look at car. Car is not terrible. You know, coming into it, we could see coming into 9 o'clock, it's not that bad. 32.80 and 32.99, we have some really nice buying that came into it, so we are going to be watching this one. As we know, that much buying, we're going to be expecting a pullback first. Underneath there, figure about, it's not a huge mover, so $1.22. So I'm going to figure probably somewhere around right around 32.75 in that area from all this buying that we see coming into it, and then from there, we're going to definitely be looking for a trigger back towards that upside. See, you know what's funny? Car might be our side list. Unfortunately, it's on a regular list, and that's how bad what we see is what's going on out there is. Let's take a look at our scanners, though. So looking at the scanner before, there was just absolutely nothing. There are some good stocks that have some decent volume, but for instance, MDZ, we already talked about. SQNS, 133,000 shares, but you can see there's just no real trading that's going on in it. So there's just nothing that we're going to be able to do anything with. Craig, we've seen move big before, but at this moment, there's just not really anything to go on there. ZSAN, 198,000 shares. Not terrible, but it looks like it's going to go into quant mode pretty much as soon as the market opens. There's just not really anything there, once again, that we can go on. KNDI, nice move, but you know what? No, it's another one. I'm going to put KNDI on our side list because I do want to continue to pay attention to it. Just remember, its personality from yesterday, the way that it trades, it's shitty. I mean, excuse my language, but it's the best way that I can explain it. It was not an easy trade whatsoever yesterday. You can see one thing that you do want to make sure is that we get an overextended trigger in a stock like this, because you don't want to go on something. You're better off giving up a few cents in something like this than you are getting in too early and making sure that then that volume and follow through not coming in. So we're sitting there, we have a double top coming right underneath there, so pretty much 990, and that's where we got this trigger that came back down because it pushed into 9. Didn't come, so it was actually a short, but we do have some, I don't want to say good buying, but decent buying that's coming in underneath that 9 level. Can you refresh us on the continuing stories of Roku, ICPT? Yeah, we'll go over that in a second. NAK 149, absolutely nothing there. And then going over to the loser side, it's pretty much the same type of deal. CBLK, 283,000 shares is the biggest loser, and it made a beautiful move overnight, but unfortunately there's just not really much there that I can see. It usually trades 77 cents, so based off the bigger range that we have, we're going to be looking at about $1. It's going to be a slower, more controlled stock as well, but the biggest thing is we want to see what's going to happen as we come over to this 13. Because if we look, you can see it has selling that's coming into it, but no real prints, no real controlling prints that show us that this is what's going to happen. I am going to put CBLK on our list, but remember 13 is going to be a huge deal. Depending on what we see going on at that 13 level, that's going to tell us exactly what we're going to be looking for the rest of the day. VIPS, 766,000 shares, absolutely nothing. GFI, 264, garbage, and then that's pretty much it. WEN, 149, but way too quantity, doesn't really trade too much, 39 cents on average with its range, just nothing for us to really do anything with. All right, so CGC has ass prints at 45. There we go, very simple. Okay, we're going to be expecting a little, I know it's over, oops. I just changed that to a 45-minute chart. Let's fix that real quick. But overall, so we have a few aspirants that just came back in. We had a few aspirants, so that's 2 times that it happened. So we're going to be expecting this to pull back down a bunch more before we end up coming back up. I don't see this as covering. The reason being is that if we were still on our downtrend, then I could see that. But there's no way that they weren't getting out at 44 based off of these buy prints that we see coming back in at 45. So after a pullback underneath there, the logical price target is going to be right here at 45.63. This line that came in from pretty much from the highs of the pre-market. Roku is the same thing that we talked about yesterday. So yesterday we know that we had prints that came in at that 54 level on the bid, but we also know at 54 we have a whole bunch of ask. So what the whole game plan is, it doesn't change. Okay, this is something we have to understand. The game plan is not going to change. Okay, based off those prints need to make money. Our entire methodology is based off the fact that the market makers have to make money or they are no longer a market maker. So we know we have a bunch of ask prints at 54. We know yesterday we have a bunch of sell prints. So we know it needed to go up, come back down. Now it needs to go back up above the 44. And then ICPT, I have no idea. We went over it yesterday coming back in there. We know at 100, but as of right this second, there's not really anything to go over. We do have, a little bit of selling, but there's ICPT is one of those stocks that I'm just really not interested in anymore. Now, yesterday it did move $20. So don't get me wrong. It's certainly something that you can pay attention to, but there's no real longer term story in ICPT. Basically, all what you're looking for is the same thing that we just talked about in DPZ, okay, and Domino's is all we need is a bunch of ask or bid, just controlling prints to tell us this is what the stock is going to do right this second. Okay, this is the story in ICPT is more like Cliff Notes when if we talk about a stock like Apple, it's more of a textbook type deal. So just all you're looking for is 3, 4, 5 controlling prints that come in a burst, and from there it's going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. EA, remember. I spent, how long was Traders Exchange yesterday? What, 2 hours that we went into it? So EA, same deal, okay? 100 had no real selling, okay? 98 had no real selling, 99 had no real selling coming into these things. And based off of that, we know we have prints at 112 on that ask side. The stock is going to need to pull back up. Okay, we are going to expect this to break back up above 100. Same type of deal if we go over to Walmart. Okay, I know a bunch of people were looking at Walmart. It has a bunch of bid prints at that 100 level. I'm expecting it to pull back up above that 100. And we talked about this, once again, the recording will be up probably today. The Traders Exchange should be up today from going over yesterday. But especially for these type of stocks that we spent that much time on, I would certainly suggest, if you can't be there live, to make sure that you go back and look at them because we went over everything. CVS for giggles. Let's see. What's considered controlling prints? All right, so you tell me. CVS, what's considered controlling prints? How many? You guys tell me. Yep, 4 or 5. That's it. It's the same thing for every stock except, and a stock like CVS, if you look at the actual orders that are out there and how thin they are, 4 or 5 makes a really big deal. All right, the orders, there's just nothing is existent. So once the market opens and we start to see more orders coming out there, remember the amount of prints and how the stock is going to be affected is directly controlled by the amount of orders that you see out here. If everything's in the hundreds, 3 prints is a very big deal. Now, if we go to a stock like Siri, which I don't think I've ever looked at pre-market, but if we go over to a stock like Siri and we look at this, 3 to 4 prints is not going to mean a thing. Okay, we can see how it trades. Just look at the bigger print side. Okay, they won't mean a thing. Okay, but if we look at the actual orders itself, it's not even trading in 3,000, 3,500. But if it was all hundreds, 3 prints would make a bigger difference coming into that. So just something to certainly make sure that you notice. All right, guys, anything else out there that I missed? I think that is about it, unfortunately. Yeah, pretty much it. Riot. I didn't see Riot come up this morning. Let's take a look. Yeah, unfortunately, Riot, there's just nothing going on. There's just no trading. 147,000 shares, which is great, but it trades, on average, 2.2 million. Actually, it's a decent amount during the pre-market, but there's just nothing going on, nothing for us to really look at. We do know that we do have buying sitting up around that 4 level. So keep that in mind. Don't get me wrong, it could come out of nowhere, but it's not something that I want to look at coming into the beginning of the morning because of the fact there's just other things that show us that have a statistical percentage of being able to actually move. Okay, this right here, based off what we see right now, doesn't show us anything, and that's why I wouldn't focus on something like this early. All right, guys, so I will, let's make sure we get into the chat. We have a bunch of work to do, just like always. There's not anything out there that's really a gem that shows us, okay, this is what we should trade immediately once the market opens, but once we do get in, once you start getting closer to the open of the market, obviously it's going to be very important. And just remember patience. The first trade is the most important trade of your day. You don't have to rush it. Remember what we talked about yesterday in Traders Exchange. If I told you right now it's going to take you 45 minutes, but you're going to make $1, you'd have no problem with it. So the second the market opens, our personality doesn't change. Okay, we don't get riled up. There's nothing. It's the same thing as right this second as it's going to be at 9:30. Just have that patience and make sure we look for that high percentage trade. All right, guys, I will talk to everyone in the chat, and happy trading.